Hi, my name is Whitney, and I am from the Meridian Library District, obviously. But today I'm going to do kind of a different book talk. It's one I haven't done yet, I don't think. What I'm going to be doing is talking about picture books today, like for early literacy. So we're talking about like the 0 to 5 little guys and what books might be good for them, what they can learn from these books. We're going to talk about like reluctant readers and what to do when you have a child who is struggling, who doesn't like to read, and that kind of stuff. So we've got like 3 books today. The first book is called Follow Me Flo by Jarvis. So you can kind of see that there. Got little ducks. And this one is a singing book. It's got rhyming and songs in it, and it's super fun. It's all about little duck following its dad, and he sings a song to like get them past through time and as they travel along kind of thing. And singing books with like rhymes and singing is really great because it goes back to our 5 early literacy skills. You'll hear me and several other librarians, especially in videos, talk about the 5 early literacy skills. So that's singing, talking, reading, playing, and writing. So all 5 of those are super important for early literacy skills and development. And this book is a good one for the singing portion. And the reason singing is so good for little kids is it helps develop language. Obviously, we think if we just read to our kids, that's probably enough. And reading is really good for them as well. But sometimes a lot of kids, it's actually easier for their brain to pick up words and vocabulary through singing than it actually is just through reading a book to them. This is true for like even my nephew. He's about like 16 months now, and he loves singing. That seems to get his attention quicker, and he seems to retain more information that way with a song than just reading. So it's definitely something important. And I know if you're like me, I never thought I was a good singer, and I'm not. I'm not gonna record an album or anything like that. But like kids don't care, and your kid definitely doesn't care, especially if they're little. Like they don't care how good you sing or not. They just want to sing with you, learn new songs, and so don't be afraid to sing with them. Like you can feel silly about it, but it definitely helps with development, so it's very important. So if you can muster up the courage to sing, please do. Okay, so that was the first one. Here's our second one. Our second one is called I Am the Wind. See right here. And this is by Michael Craig, and Sophia Dio did the illustrations of the book. So this one is really beautiful. I want to show you some pictures in it because it's very beautifully drawn. Yeah. So kind of like the title says, I am the wind. It's about the wind and kind of the wind currents a little bit, which seems like a big topic, right, for like a 1 to 5-year-old. But actually it portrays like the wind flowing through the trees, through the branches, what the wind does with weather and clouds and how that affects it. But it's all illustrated. So it's shown in these like beautiful pictures. So something that might sound kind of complicated to explain to a child, these pictures do a really good job of showing it and explaining it, and something that your child will be able to understand. And that's why I really like this one, because it's not assumingly educational, but it is. This one has a bit bigger vocabulary because it talks about like wind currents and stuff like that. But it does it in a fun visual way. So a lot of kids are visual learners, and myself is a visual learner as well. And that can really help with like a harder concept. So say you want to teach your child about a harder concept such as wind, weather, natural disaster, something like. Sometimes a picture book is the easiest way to do that, especially when they're little. But it's something that they can retain. It's something tangible they can see and go, okay, I kind of understand what that means. So another good one to pick up there. My last one, and this one is where we're going to talk a little bit about reluctant readers. So what is a reluctant reader? So basically that just means like you have a child who doesn't like to read, or is having a hard time, not necessarily maybe that they're bad at reading, it's just that they don't like to, or they don't like the learning process of reading, which can be very frustrating and can be a struggle for sure. One of the things that a lot of us librarians talk about is finding what they like, what they're interested in, which seems pretty easy, right? Well, like duh, but that can be harder than sometimes you're just like, well, my kid likes animals, so I'm going to bring home animal books, and then they hate all of them. You know what I mean? I'm sure every parent's dealt with this. And so the best way to kind of do that is find something that your kid does like, or that they have like, so maybe not just animals, maybe they actually really like sharks. It's not just animals in general. They might be like, well, I like animals, but you notice them like gravitating to like a shark toy or stuffy, something like that, and go, okay, well, sharks. And there are plenty of picture books with sharks. I dealt with a woman who came in the library just the other day, actually, and she was like, I've got a 7-year-old who's struggling with reading. He hates to read. We just did like Bob books and some board books, but like nothing's like catching his attention, and he needs to get up to reading level. So obviously, like she was concerned about that and his development in that way. Which, if you're concerned about it, it's good to be concerned about it. But it's also good to know that every kid is at their own pace. They're not going to be always right at reading level with all their classmates, and that's okay. The best thing to do is just to get books in their hands and get them to read. So one of the things I suggested is that she said she's tried all these other books, and he's like, he hates this, he doesn't like this, he doesn't like this. And I was like, okay, does he like TV shows or like cartoons, or like, do you know, have that in your house? And she's like, oh, he loves Star Wars. So obviously I was like, well, we have like reading grade age appropriate reading levels for kiddos. So that's the one I'm going to actually kind of show you. The Galaxy Needs You. And this one is by Caitlin Kennedy, and it's illustrated by Etta Caban. And so yeah, it's about Rey, and it kind of goes through her journey through Star Wars. Kind of basically like the movie a little bit. There's some different details about her in there. And it's all illustrated, and the vocabulary is appropriate for about a first grader, which is what he was probably about, or a little under. And she was thrilled. She was like, oh, he's going to love Star Wars. And that's the best way to do it. So you latch onto something they like, and that's okay just to overload them. If it's like superheroes, get all the superhero books you can get your hands on. And, you know, they'll start learning that way because it's something that they're interested in, and they're going to love to read it, and they want to check out more. The other tip you can do with reluctant readers, if you can make it to the library, I know with COVID it's a little bit harder now. Our library is currently open, at least as of this video. It could change anytime, so please check our website for updated info. But right now we are open for limited browsing. We keep it to about 15 minutes when you're in there, so you can't hang out super long, but it's enough time for your child to actually go in and pick out their books. And that's probably the other things to do is just let them pick out whatever. Like, you know, obviously stuff that's appropriate for your family, take in consideration, but you know, really let them pick a book, even if it's like, oh, it looks like a scary book. You know, if that's what they pick, let them pick it, let them look through it, and let them read bigger words that you're like, oh, this is way too big for them. Sometimes that's okay. I mean, I wouldn't say let them go pick up an adult book, or a chapter book necessarily, but even if it looks a little bit challenging, that's how they learn, and that's how we learn too. So those are all 3 of my books. Those are some of my tips for reluctant readers. Thank you guys for joining me for this book talk. I hope you learned some stuff. If you guys have any questions, I'll put my email down in there for you, as well as you can visit our library's website at mld.org. We have a fun new chat service on there too, so if you haven't been to our website in a bit, you can chat with a librarian, and you can get tips and tricks, and you can get some reader's advisory. So if you need to find a bunch of picture books about superheroes, they can point you in the right direction and find a bunch of titles for you and help you put them on hold as well if you want to. So thanks for spending time with me, and I'll see you guys next time.